You have some new music coming out that we were talking about.
Today.
Today is the day.
Man. Today is the day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I'm Rich Furness.
I'm Lefty. Thank you for watching.
So what I did was I chopped up tiny segments from this vocal performance and created individual parts.
My name is Terrence and I'm from Malaysia. I was born and raised in Malaysia and I came here about 6 years ago. Somehow I ended over here in SoundCollective. I was just looking around the city trying to learn music production. The major thing that made me want to join was actually the CDJs over here. I've learned a lot about how CDJs work, how the mixers work, how music production works. Thanks to my teacher, Morsi, a lot of people over here, a lot of famous artists over here like Rich Furness and Lefty. They give me a lot of tips and stuff. It really helps me a lot in terms of the productions and outside of productions. I get to connect, not just here, and it's just outside of SoundCollective as well. And I get to show them support at the gigs, events that they perform in. I get to talk to a lot of people and, just a bunch of nice people around here. Well, in terms of my future goals, I would love to play at nightclubs, bars, and most importantly, I get to perform at music festivals. In terms of that, I know there's still gonna be like a long way to go, but I am seeing myself as a DJ, as an artist and producer in like 5 years from now. With the help of SoundCollective, I would say, I'm in pretty good hands.
Well, the party is off to a good start.
Children of the night.
We have End2End breaking down his track Lies, which recently came out on Insomniac. So let's get right into it. Please welcome End2End.
Basically, the way I start any song, for me, I'm immediately going to go right to kick, hats, and claps. So these hats, I layered them with 5 different hats. If you're working with vocals, cut them and make a pad out of them. Make something else that's not just a vocal out of the vocal that you have. And then we're setting up our breakdown by cutting out the tops, keeping the bass in, and then bringing the piano chords back. One of my biggest pet peeves when I'm listening to music is if I just hear the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So how can you do same but different? Thanks for listening, guys.
What's up, guys? My name is Nog. We just had our second Collective Connect here at SoundCollective. Had a great time, had a lot of great talent come through again. We had a lot of people get some great feedback and some valuable stuff to improve their own music, and I got some for myself as well.
I would show music to my family and everything, and then, you know, they would say, oh, it's good, but they thought the people here were actually able to give you like that feedback.
If you're trying to meet new DJs, might as well relate over the newest tech. It's some nerdy shit, and it's the best ever.
It was a really good chance to collaborate with other people in the scene. Just meeting these awesome people that they can collaborate with, work with, and just be friends with. We're gonna definitely do more of these. We had a great turnout and people had a great time, so see you at the next one.
My name is Chad McDaniel. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and part-time in Manhattan. In Manhattan, as I realized, there's no place to play drums, and so originally I was looking for a spot to just play drums. And I came upon this place through a Google search and kind of started scrolling through and seeing everything that is available here. And one thing that's super available is this DJ program. And I'm not a DJ, or at least I wasn't a DJ, but I've always been curious about it. So I came in and I talked to the guys, and they put me into this DJ intensive, and 2 weeks into it, I'm getting pretty comfortable doing it. A big part of this program is learning about the music industry and how to promote yourself, and what it takes to do music production, which is also part of this DJ class, what it takes to get your name out there, what it takes to contact record companies or distribution companies. A lot of the business stuff that I also had never really thought about. So it would take me forever to buy equipment and get it set up and try to figure it out on my own or through YouTube videos or things like that. But being able to come in here and all this equipment just available and guys here to just very patiently walk me through it. It was a crash course. I learned more in this 2 weeks than I could have learned in a year easily. I'm going to take that knowledge and kind of sit down and diligently work through what I want to do. But ultimately, I want to get some songs out. I want to play out and just kind of see where it goes.
I want to welcome everybody here to the SoundCollective.
We're going to spend the next 45 minutes basically talking through some new equipment, and then at the end, you guys will just get a chance to hang out, kick it, try out new gear.
The space is amazing. It's going to give students the opportunity to play with not just software, but hardware as well. Like hardware that has inspired people to create.
My favorite part of the night is really connecting with all of the DJs from the area, learning about their vibes and what they do and how they innovate.
Got a lot of info and news and updates and stuff that I didn't have answers to. Being part of this community is amazing.
This place is awesome.
So for the DJ intensive, I went down and got really nitty-gritty into the details on how to get a DJ gig from a complete beginner.
In Manhattan, as I realized, there's no place to play drums, and so originally I was looking for a spot to just play drums. And I came upon this place through a Google search and kind of started scrolling through and seeing everything that is available here. And I'm not a DJ, or at least I wasn't a DJ, but I've always been curious about it. So I came in and I talked to the guys, and they put me into this DJ intensive, and 2 weeks into it, I'm getting pretty comfortable doing it.
We'll be teaching the art of mixing, which is transitions, going from one song to the next, holding some of those transitions, which can also be looked at as a mashup or a blend, remixing, and some basic DJing skills like cuts, scratches, and the idea of playing what you like and also catering to the crowd, and find that happy balance between introducing people to new music and also giving them a little bit of what they enjoy, and finding a creative way to do that.
Through my techniques, I can teach you how to create the music and then get it to the right record labels. I usually do DJ instructions, how to use Pioneer turntables, music production using Ableton or Logic, and I'll show you exactly how you can create something from nothing and make it a big banger.
A big part of this program is learning about the music industry and how to promote yourself, and what it takes to do music production, which is also part of this DJ class, what it takes to get your name out there, what it takes to contact record companies or distribution companies, a lot of the business stuff that I also had never really thought about. So see where it goes.
My teaching style is kind of like the Bruce Lee be like water. It's like the style of no style, whatever fits at the time. So if I see somebody needs a little bit more encouragement, I'll be a little bit more suggestive, or maybe you could do this. Sometimes people get stuck and get caught in their head.
It would take me forever to buy equipment and get it set up and try to figure it out on my own or through YouTube videos or things like that. But being able to come in here and all this equipment just available and guys here to just very patiently walk me through it. It was a crash course. I learned more in this 2 weeks than I could have learned in a year easily.
And then not only do I like to just teach, I kind of like to connect afterwards and make sure that you're still on the right path. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just take this course and kind of feel like you're left with nowhere or no type of guidance. I can be that type of guidance for you.
I'm going to take that knowledge and kind of sit down and diligently work through what I want to do. But ultimately, I want to get some songs out. I want to play out and just kind of see where it goes.
I like to think of it as almost having a separate volume knob.
Check 1, 2. Check 1. Check 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Hey, hey. 1, 2. Oh, we're doing it through the stream. We're not going through the mix. Yeah, she requested new audio. Check 1, 2.
My name's John. The project is called Jewels on Expo. I've been playing around Philly, New Jersey, and now New York. But I've been doing this for a while, and I'm happy to be at the SoundCollective. Ready to practice here, ready to kind of experiment with all the gear here.
This, it's amazing, man. The studio, the recording studio is off the hook. I mean, all the stations, just amazing, amazing, bro.
My name is Rob Engel, DJ name St. Francis. I'm a DJ, primarily do disco and house music, and I'm super excited to be here at SoundCollective.
Really cool is now we can go into this MIDI and do whatever we want to it.
Hey, what's up? My name is Morsi over here at SoundCollective. I'm a New York City resident, born and raised, been DJing all over the place, from nightclubs to festivals to cruises, you name it, I've been there. I've been in the music world forever with plenty of releases from so many record labels. To name a few, Strictly Rhythm, Deep Root Records, Nervous Records, Purple Tea. Through my techniques, I can teach you how to create the music and then get it to the right record labels. I usually do DJ instructions, how to use Pioneer turntables, music production using Ableton or Logic, and I'll show you exactly how you can create something from nothing and make it a big banger. So for the DJ intensive, I went down and got really nitty-gritty into the details on how to get a DJ gig from a complete beginner. So my teaching style, I would say, is one-on-one and direct. I like to communicate and kind of read the audience, read the person that I'm working with. And then not only do I like to just teach, I kind of like to connect afterwards and make sure that you're still on the right path of the tips and tricks that I may have taught you. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just take this course and kind of feel like you're left with nowhere or no type of guidance. I can be that type of guidance for you.
Welcome to SoundCollective membership. Join SoundCollective membership and get access to our facility and all the hardware, DJ, and production equipment we have here on site. Today we're talking about Ableton's Push. Ableton Push has a whole host of scales inside it, which can be used to make playing ideas of different scales really easy. I'm going to search for a melodic instrument. I found a piano. Right now, this grid is set to chromatic, so any note on the keyboard is available. By selecting the scale mode and then selecting a scale here and then a note up here, say I want E minor. Then I can say that I'm going to change it to in key. Now I've got only the 8 notes of this E minor scale available in different octaves. Join SoundCollective membership, gain access to our facilities, and start making music with hardware today.
Cool, peace. My name is Pudge, AKA Pudge Mental. Born and raised in Jamaica, Queens, DJ, producer, MC, and educator. Been DJing for about 25 years now. Had the honor of DJing for Fat Lip from the Far Side, Micah 9 from the Freestyle Fellowship, Voice out of New Orleans, Eagle Nebula out of LA. We'll be teaching the art of mixing, which is transitions, going from one song to the next, holding some of those transitions, which can also be looked at as a mashup or a blend, remixing, and some basic DJing skills like cuts, scratches, and the idea of playing what you like and also catering to the crowd, and find that happy balance between introducing people to new music and also giving them a little bit of what they enjoy, and finding a creative way to do that. My teaching style is kind of like the Bruce Lee, be like water. It's like the style of no style, whatever fits at the time. So if I see somebody needs a little bit more encouragement, I'll be a little bit more suggestive, or, maybe you could do this. Sometimes people get stuck and get caught in their head. I've seen students go from looking at the program like, what is this? What am I supposed to do here? To then having a full-blown remix that you could play out in the club tonight within a week and a half, 2 weeks, and that's great.
Let's go ahead and record some audio.
Hey, you guys got 2 minutes before showtime. You ready?
It was at this moment she knew she wasn't ready. If only there was a music school that offered in-person and online learning opportunities for both traditional and electronic music with access to professional gear and a creative community. Oh wait, there is. Welcome to SoundCollective. Become a music industry pro and expand your musical horizons online with our subscription platform. Visit us in NYC for lessons and classes to meet other aspiring musical creatives. Connect and collaborate with students and award-winning faculty and expand your musical horizons. Everything you learn about electronic music production can apply to instruments and vice versa. Well, maybe not everything. Welcome to your new musical home.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
I'm Yahaira V. Fortunato, and I'm from New York. I was looking to see what would be the perfect location and place for me to learn music and learn the skill of production. When I finally did walk in these doors, I fell in love with the facility. I've learned how to control habitual habits in terms of workflow, which was something that I really wanted to master. But just overall, just my perspective on what I thought was creative music to having a perfect structure in where now I can have the confidence to really say who I am in this industry. I am super thankful to have someone like the people that you have, like Morsi, who I work with. He is just so experienced, and the minute I sat down with him, he really understood my journey and sound and helped me control it. So he is just excellent at what he does, especially.
The house music makes it.
All right, how's everybody doing? Good. Thank you for coming out. We love to have everybody come in and be part of our facility. My name's Tony. I'm part of the SoundCollective crew. Just want to give you guys a little heads up on what we do. So to speak, and musicians as well. We do everything from short-term programs to help you refine on what you actually do in the studio. We're going to be offering some long-term programs in music production that are coming up soon as well. We do private lessons, and we have a great community of networking with people from all over the world, and then especially in the tri-state area, a lot of people come in and connect with us. So you can see what we have facility-wise. I just wanted to give you a little brief on what we are and the SoundCollective in general. We really hope to have you come down and be part of the community with us, and we thank you for coming out and enjoy yourselves tonight. Have a great night, and please welcome SEIDS.
Hello everybody, I'm SEIDS, and today we're going to talk about how to build a six-figure music business from scratch. There is a lot to talk about, so we'll just jump right into it. This is what we're going to talk about. We'll start with my story and all of this. We'll just jump right into it. So I'm SEIDS. How did I get here? So in 2012, I graduated high school and I was like, I want to learn how to do this music thing, so I went to college. But when I graduated college with a degree in vocal performance, even though it was like one of the best colleges in the world, I truly had no idea how I was going to make money. Like, honestly, I'm not sure if that is the same feeling. I doubt it's the same feeling for somebody that goes to school to be a veterinarian or a lawyer. They kind of have like a very linear path on like what they need to do to succeed. And me as a singer, I did not know what to do. So I did what many musicians do, and I moved to New York City, and I got my first job singing on a cruise ship pretty quickly. Literally right after moving here, I got this job and it was awesome. It was a great first job. I don't know, have any of you worked on cruises before? Know anybody that works on cruises? So basically I sang every single day for 3 to 5 hours in the house band. There I am on the high seas, and you get room and board included. I think I was making like $3,600 a month, and it was awesome because I got to keep all of that money. I didn't have to spend it on anything if I didn't want to. I got to travel the world. But I had to live on a tin vessel with whoever else was there at that time. And it's just not really as glamorous, maybe, as it sounds. Maybe it doesn't sound glamorous to you at all. But that was my first job. After like doing that for about a year, I walked off the ship. I was like 22. I had $30,000 in the bank. And I was like, okay, I got this job like straight out of school. Like next stop is the Grammys. Like here I go. And I tried to do it. I was trying to be an artist. This was like 2014. I was passing out these business cards, as you can see, and most of them landed in the trash. And I just had no idea how to get fans. So I royally failed. I basically spent all that $30,000 that I made from the cruise ship in about 6 months. And it really, really sucked. And so I was like, okay, I need to get a job. And so I started singing in cover bands, and I was what you would call like a gig junkie. Maybe some of you guys can relate to that. Like anytime I got a call like, hey, Sabrina, like, can you come to this gig in Long Island in like 4 hours? And wherever I was, I would run home, get my gown or whatever, and then like run to the gig and, you know, do what I got to do to like make it as a singer or make money in the music industry. And I was also always doing like part-time jobs. I was selling glasses. I was actually working at Equinox as a membership advisor. And then I really decided, okay, like I want to be a full-time music creator. I want to build something of my own. And I have this entrepreneurial chip inside of me. So I was like, okay, let me build a girl group. And this girl group will go back on cruise ships. It's a much better gig than being in the house band. We only have to be on the ship for about like a week or 2 weeks. We do 2 shows, we get paid way more, and we get like guest status. So I worked so hard building this group. I spent all of my savings at that time building this group, costumes, arrangements, sheet music, everything. And we got our first job on May 2020. And if you guys remember, there were no ships going out in May 2020. So I had royally failed again, but this time I was 30 and I just felt like a complete loser. So while I was stuck at home, I got fed a Facebook ad, learned how to produce in 30 days, and then I started posting on TikTok, and then I created in 2021 SEIDS production, and I finally cracked the code. So this took me a long time, like 10 years of blood, sweat, and tears before I was really able to make 6 figures as a music creator at the age 31. So yeah. So since then, I have worked with over 60 music tech companies. Mostly everything in my studio was sent to me. I have sold thousands of products, and I've made friends with talented creators all over the world. So what changed in those 10 years, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today. The big thing is diversifying my skills, like learning how to produce music, posting on social media. The second thing was deciding exactly what I want to do. This took a lot of soul searching and trial and error. And then the third thing was learning the pie of success, which we're going to talk about. And then the fourth thing was building the strategy. So we're going to first talk about the pie of success, okay? So this is what most people think the pie of success is. Let me just get the best I can at my craft. Let me be the best guitar player. Let me be the best singer. Let me be the best producer. And then everything is going to work out for me. Unfortunately, this is where most people stop, and this is why most people fail. You could be the best guitar player in the world, but if nobody knows it, then nobody knows it, right? So being good is the bare minimum. That is the entry ticket to the industry. That is the starting point. That is not enough. And let me tell you, for somebody that has done live streams like pretty much every single week for the past year, there are so many good people out there, like so many sickly talented people out there. And I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying this to motivate you to move beyond this part of the pie, okay? So this is what some people think the pie of success looks like, right? I'm just gonna be as good as I possibly can, and I'm gonna have fans, and that's it, right? Sadly, this is where a lot of people stop, and this is why a lot of people fail and they struggle. There'll be people on social media that have millions of more followers than me, millions of more views than me, and they're saying, Sabrina, how are you monetizing? Why can't I monetize? And because having fans does not equal money, right? This is where we need the third piece of the pie, which is sales, making money, having a product or service that people buy. So that is the pie of success. This is, in my opinion, if you have all these three things and you do these things well, not even like amazing, just like well, you should be able to make 6 figures. Okay, so I think a lot of people are confused what the difference is between marketing and sales. So let's talk about that today. So marketing, I like to think of it as like the invitation to the party, getting a lot of people to the party, and then sales is asking somebody to dance. Okay, so now another way to think about it is marketing is how your fans and clients find you. And the good news is there are a lot of ways to market yourself. So many ways actually. And today we're going to talk about the few ones that I know about and that have worked for me. So first let's talk about outreach, okay? Outreach works. Outreach is kind of like spamming, cold calling, emails. This is really like a numbers game, okay? If you reach out to 1,000 people and you do it correctly because you're leading with value, you're not just saying, collab, bro, right? You're not just saying, let me produce your song for you. You might get 10 people to respond and 1 person to hire you. But think about it. If you can figure out those metrics, then you can be like, okay, I need to reach out to 5,000 people a month to get 50 people to respond to get 5 people to hire me, right? So it does work. It really does if you do it correctly. You must have thick skin. This is why I don't, this is my least favorite marketing tool for me because I'm sensitive and I don't like rejection. So I don't really do this as much as I probably should, but it does work. I've seen it work. It's worked for me and it's worked for other people. Okay, networking. Networking is awesome because relationships are king. People are gonna hire people they like. Like if somebody reaches out to me and they say, hey, like I need a photographer, I'm gonna reach out to my friends first, like, hey, do you want this job? Before I put a post on Instagram. So you really wanna make friends. People also wanna work with other people that are cool, that are positive. They would rather work with somebody that is easygoing, positive, gets the job done than somebody who's the best and who's difficult and who's dramatic and who's negative, right? So think about all of this. Hopefully you guys will make friends with each other here. Okay, so I want to talk about one little quick side note. Business cards are kind of like a thing in the past. Like if somebody gives me a business card, like it most likely will end up in the trash. So I really recommend trying some of these like virtual business cards. They're totally free. You could like scan mine and see what it looks like. And ultimately you really want to get them to kind of like follow you, right, on social media because we're going to talk about that more. But I really recommend everybody get like a virtual business card, especially when you're doing this like networking thing. Believe it or not, like even though we have like this real life connection, you still want to kind of build that relationship on the internet as well. So think about it that way. Okay, paid ads. So paid ads are really awesome, like for a lot of reasons, because this is like the first time in history that we can pay for an ad to be shown to somebody that's genuinely interested in what the ad is showing them, right? Like in the old days, like I would be walking down the street and I might see an ad for sports, but I don't like sports, you know? It's not like I'm walking down the street and they're gonna show me like a Logic Pro ad, right? Like this is like the first time in history. But you have to keep in mind that fans are earned. They are not bought. So you should really only be doing paid ads for a product or a service. If you do ads correctly, like really correctly, for every $1 you spend, you should be making like more than the $1. You should be making like at least like $2 or like even cents above the dollar, right? So you need to like think about that. Like this has to work, or you're just like losing money and giving like Daddy Zuckerberg more money that he doesn't need, right? So paid ads require really great copy with videos and photos, and unless you have like a giant budget to kind of like mess around with and play with, I really recommend not starting with paid ads unless you invest some time and money learning how to do it. My favorite form of marketing is social media. And the reason I love social media is because it's totally free if you have your phone and you have the internet. It's accessible. Anybody can do it from anywhere in the world. And you can think about it like fishing, right? If you put out the right bait for the right audience, they will come to you. And it is a really great way to test content if you eventually want to do these ads, right? I didn't do ads for the longest time. Like for 3 years, I didn't do ads, and I was able to make, you know, 200 to 300,000 a year just from social media alone. Only this last 4 months did I start paid ads, and I really think like the entire ecosystem helped. Like without my social media, my ads wouldn't have performed as well. It really made every dollar like go further. So do not skip this part, the social media part. I think everybody should at least give it a try. Okay, there's one other marketing thing I want to talk about before we talk more about social media, since I love it so much, is referrals. Referrals are awesome, and I really recommend that you guys don't overlook this. So if you are working with a client, just try to be like, hey, like, you know, just offer an incentive, like, hey, like if you're mixing for somebody, you can be like, hey, like if you get me a client, I'll give you a free mix or a free production, whatever it is. And I know people that get pretty much all of their business from referrals. One of my like proudest moments was when I was working with when Apogee reached out to me to work with them. They said, oh, you have to thank your friends at Apple for referring you. And that was really cool. So really work on building those relationships and then offering incentives to get more clients. Okay, so with social media, I want to talk about 5 hot tips. Like I can do a whole course on I have a whole course on social media, but I want to just talk about like the 5 big ones to leave you with, since like we don't have endless time today. Okay, so the first one, I really recommend that you guys think about your social media as a digital portfolio. People aren't going to go and hang out on your website, but people are already hanging out on social media. So use that to your advantage. And again, like if I'm going to get somebody my business card, I want them to follow me on social media, because that's where I'm posting on a regular basis. That's where they're going to know what I have to offer, what I'm selling, what I'm doing, what I can do for them, you know, and do that. Okay. With social media, the thing that's most important in your video is kind of like, is the hook, right? You have 1 to 2 seconds to like hook them in. So if you're on your bed playing a song and the sound quality's bad, it's pixelated, it's dark, they're gonna swipe past your video, and then because they're gonna swipe past your video, the algorithm's gonna say, oh, this isn't like a strong piece of content, and their job is to keep people on the apps, right? Like that's what they wanna do. So if your video's not keeping people on the apps, they're gonna not show it to more people, right? So imagine if you're singing that same exact song, right? It's great sound quality, you're on the top of Mount Everest, there's cotton candy skies, there's birds flying past, right? Now that's a hook, right? Without you even being like, here's a cool Logic Pro tip. That's just like a visual hook. People want to know, oh, where are they? What are they singing about? How did they get up there? It's so beautiful, right? So your first 1 to 2 seconds is important. You have multiple ways to hook people in. You have a visual hook, you have an audio hook, you have a said hook, you have written hook. Like there's a few ways that you could hook people in. Consistency is a must for a lot of reasons. Like, one, you have to put in the reps, right? You can't just do like 100 crunches and expect a six-pack. You have to post enough that you learn the skill of creating good content. It's also just like a never-ending machine. Like, as an entrepreneur, you just have to constantly like feed the machine. So whatever you can do to be consistent, I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but like if it means, oh, I'll post 3 times a week, or oh, I'll post 1 time a week, or oh, I'll post 2 times a week, like stick with it and focus on getting like 1% better every single time you post. And authenticity is powerful. So the reason why I think I succeeded so quickly on TikTok was because I was very authentic to myself. At that time, people were posting production tips, they were very serious, right? Everything was serious, their content was serious, the way they talked about production was serious. And then here I was just being like, here's a cool Logic Pro tip. And then I was just like showing my computer like with my phone. I was very approachable. And that was really what my brand is. It aligned with me. Like, I'm not a perfectionist, right? I'm a like one take girly, that's good enough. And it aligned with me. And so other people were able to see that and to see my authentic self. Now, if somebody else copies my content, like exactly, people are going to see like, oh, that's not you. That's not your content. That's not who you are. And it could be a very subtle thing, but that's why it's so important for you to do this soul searching, to really dive into yourself and know yourself and have every single thing you do, whether it be your music, your products, your services, the way you run your business, be authentically you. Nobody has your ears. Nobody has your point of view. And that is your superpower. So you just have to like dive into that as much as possible. Okay, goals over views. Social media will get very depressing very fast if you're just focusing on the numbers. You can learn from the numbers, right? But ultimately, you need to focus on who is seeing your content rather than how many people are seeing your content. For example, if I post a video about my social media class, right, and let's say only 1,000 people see the video, which for me is not a good video since I have 200,000 followers, right? But let's say 100 of those people buy my social media class, right? Isn't that way better than 1 million people seeing my video because I posted something stupid of Kim Kardashian and nobody buying my course? Right? So it's really important to focus on that. If you're trying to produce for Lizzo, all you need is Lizzo to see your video and to hire you, right? So we are focusing on social media in a different way. We're not here to be famous. We're here to get fans and clients. Truly the only numbers I care about are the numbers in my bank account and the numbers on a scale, right? Like, I do not care about the likes, comments, follows, views, because what is that going to ultimately do for me if it's not turning into, I don't know why I said the scale part, but if it's not turning into like numbers in my bank account, right? Okay, so let's talk about marketing. A lot of musicians hate marketing, right? They hate social media. They say, oh, you're not a true artist or whatever. But marketing is creative, right? If you are a true artist, you should be able to figure out a way to make marketing work for you. Just like you can make fashion out of anything, you can make content out of anything. If you're a cool lo-fi guy, you can walk around Brooklyn with like the snow falling and a cool filter and some cool music playing and like a Coltrane quote, whatever. Like, you can make content out of anything. It can reflect your mood. And I mean, this is a debate as old as time, I feel like, between like video and music. But in my opinion, like, video and music has been hand in hand since like the dawn of recorded video and music. Like, you think about it, like in the 80s or whatever, you would never just release a song, you would release a song and a music video, right? It would always go hand in hand. So always try to take the positive side of things. You're going to see more, you probably have already seen, but negativity in the music industry is like a plague and you just don't want to catch it, right? For whatever it is, like, always take the positive side of it and figure out a way for it to work for you. Okay, now let's talk about sales. Okay, so sales are how your fans and clients support you, and they do want to support you. And I learned this a really interesting way when I first started posting on TikTok, I was holding off as long as I could to monetize because I just wanted to focus on growing my brand. And my personal life, something had changed, and I needed to monetize, and I needed to monetize fast. So I was just like tinkering, like, how can I make money? How can I pay rent? So I decided to sell a MIDI pack, and it was 50 MIDI chord progressions, 4 chords each, just like these block chord progressions. And I was selling it for $5, and all of these people were buying it, and I was shocked. I was like, wow, I can't believe these like strangers on the internet are buying these, you know, chord progressions from me. And I would reach out to some of them, and I would see some of them are like excellent piano players, like really, really good. Like they don't need my chord progression. And then I reached out to them. I said, oh, like, why did you buy my MIDI chord pack? And they said, oh, I'm not going to use it. I just wanted to support you because I love your content and I love what you do. And so that was kind of like a light bulb moment for me where I was like, okay, imagine if I created something that people actually wanted and needed and also wanted to support me, right? So give your fans and clients an opportunity to support you. So what products can you make that your fans and clients want or need? You can get creative with this, right? If you're like a cool jazz guy or girl, you can make like a digital download of a cookbook and talk about like how each recipe goes with one of the songs and talk about the science between like taste and sound. If you are like an indie rock band, maybe you could do like a monthly subscription where they get a one-of-a-kind Polaroid and like, I don't know, a cool t-shirt. Like you can get really creative with like what your fans and clients want or need. Like I created my Logic Pro crash course because literally my fans had asked me for it. Like I kept posting these quick Logic Pro tips and everyone was like, oh, can you put all of your tips in like a little book? And then I realized like, wow, like the only Logic Pro products out there are like 9-hour courses or like 20-hour courses. There's not like a crash course where like people can just reference a book or they don't like, you know, like Grammy Award winners, they don't want to read a giant course or watch a giant course to just get like a hot new tip. So I was like, okay, let me create this like Logic Pro ebook. It's like, it's nothing revolutionary, you know, but like it's done well. Like thousands of people have bought it because it was something that my fans and clients wanted or needed. And the same thing with services, right? You can get creative with what you offer your fans and clients. You don't have to just do what they're asking for. For example, like a lot of my clients, which was like music tech clients, they would ask me to do like videos or this and that, but I really wanted to do like sponsored live classes. I thought it'd be a great way for them to sponsor a class, give some free education to the community, and then in return, they would get like, they would give out a plugin or something where they would get their emails and then like try to sell them something later on. So I just started pitching this to clients, and then a bunch of them started hiring me to do that. This is just something I like came up with, and I was able to really, really pad my income by coming up with a service that I just thought of from scratch, you know? So like if you are a mixing and mastering engineer, you can maybe offer like remote engineering, right? Like maybe there's so many tools now with like Muse and even on Zoom where you can like run a remote session for them, and you could offer that as a client, and then that opens up a lot more people, right? You're not just stuck with your local market. You have the world market at your disposal. So you can really get creative with that. Okay, now with sales. So as I mentioned earlier today, one of my like side jobs, which was a full job, also singing gigs. So I was like doing this full job and then on the weekends singing weddings. But this was at Equinox as a membership advisor. And I do have to say that it was an awful job, like a terrible, awful job. But if you do have to work like another job, like a day job, I highly recommend getting an entry-level sales job because they will actually give you sales training, like really good sales training, because you're basically working on 100% commission, and that's their business model where they're like, okay, let's just teach as many people as we can to like sell, and then hopefully they'll sell our gym membership, right? But I mean, that training was like almost better than college. Like I truly learned how to sell. I really learned how to find the pain point. The pain point is the problem that people are having. If anybody buys anything at any time, it's because they have a problem or they have a need that they want to be solved, right? You have to find that need, right? Why is somebody going to buy my social media class? Oh, Because they want to learn how to do social media and they want to get better at social media. Why is somebody hiring you to mix and master? Oh, because they want more people to listen to their music and they want their music to sound better and they don't know how to mix and master themselves. Oh, you have a really nice studio with really nice gear that they can't afford and they really trust your ear, so they're going to hire you, right? So you need to find the pain point. So what I was saying before, if you do have to work a day job, I recommend getting an entry-level sales job. It's horrible, but it will teach you a lot, okay? It'll teach you how to find the pain point. It'll teach you how to offer the solution, which is, surprise, surprise, what you're offering. And it'll teach you how to negotiate, right? Like when and how to negotiate, why to negotiate. And lastly, it'll teach you how to create urgency. So these are all really important things that you should learn. You can also probably go on YouTube and be like, give me a crash sales course, but don't overlook these steps, okay? This is really important. Another thing with sales is there's two types of income. So for instance, like if I'm teaching right now, like this is not passive income. I have to be here in this time. There's only so many hours of the day where I can make money doing this, right? But right now, maybe like 5 or 6 people will buy my Logic Pro crash course or buy my Ultimate Logic Pro bundle. So that's passive income. That's money I'm making like while I'm sleeping. So a great way to do that is with digital products. So that could be selling plugins, that could be selling presets, that could be selling samples, beat sales. That's also streams, like selling your own music. You can set up different things with like drop shipping companies where you could be selling your merch. So like they handle all the, I'm sure you guys have seen those like Printful and stuff. They handle all the shirts and everything and they'll ship it out and all you have to do is like get a sale and maybe you'll make like $10 or $20 per purchase depending on like what the breakdowns are. But that is passive income, right? So you guys want to think about some sort of way to take advantage of passive income. Set monthly goals, okay? When I was working at Equinox, right, the first thing they would do each month is give me a goal of how many memberships I need to sell in order to hit a bonus, right? You are now your own boss, so you have to set your own monthly goals. Okay, I want to make $3,000 a month. I want to get 3,000 followers a month. Like gain 3,000 new followers. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like you need to treat yourself like you're the boss. There's like 2 versions of you now. There's your boss and then there's you as your worker. You have to like communicate with that and sit down and have meetings. Like when we're talking, like I was just talking to a friend who also has a music business and this year he did like 9% better than last year and I asked him like why? What is it? It's not luck, it's execution, right? It's always execution. So you have to sit down, write down on a piece of paper, what are we doing? So set these goals. Stay in the green. This is really tough because I think as a culture, we were taught that we have to like spend money to make money, which is true to a certain extent, right? Like if you're gonna invest in anything, invest in like education. But also like I do think that we end up spending more than we have to sooner than we need to. Like for instance, when I was building my like New York Harmonics, the girl group, we had spent money on our trademark. We had bought an LLC, we had gotten an LLC, we had gotten all these things that we like quite literally didn't need yet because we weren't making any money. And we never made any money. So all of that was kind of like a waste. So this time when I built like my SEIDS productions, I was like, no, not this time, Satan. I did everything DIY until I was in the green. And then when I was in the green, I started reinvesting. I didn't even have a website. I didn't even have like Shopify or anything. Like when I was selling classes, I was like, send me a DM telling me that you want the class. They would send me a DM. I'll be like, okay, send me a Cash App, Zelle. I was doing everything manually because I didn't want to pay for any service, anything until I was in the green. You guys don't need to hire photographers. You can take a picture of yourself. You can watch a little YouTube and take a picture of yourself. You don't need to hire a graphic designer. You don't need to hire an editor. You should learn how to do the things. It's so much better to do things homemade than to spend money you don't have. This is my opinion. Take it or leave it. But that is what I've learned. And this is also a great way to stack skills, okay? It is so much better to be good at lots of things than be amazing at just one thing. For a long time, I was truly just a singer, right? Like, if you hired me to do a cover band gig, you knew what you were getting. I was a reliable singer, and I got work, and it was awesome. But that was it. That was all I can do. Now I'm getting hired to be like I can engineer my own vocals. I can create arrangements and send them out to people in Scotland and Australia. I can produce tracks. I can, I have so much more I can do. I can make content. I can edit. Lots of stuff. So stack your skills, okay? And something that is really helpful, especially when you're like starting out and trying to like build, is to have multiple streams of revenue. And I've always had multiple streams of revenue between like passive streams, active streams, but even like different departments. Like for a long time, I was still singing gigs and then working with music tech companies. And within music tech companies, I was working on sample packs, and I was also doing videos. And then I was also, you know, taking whatever sync thing I was doing here and there. You guys maybe know the sync world. Not for me, but like it was fun, like here and there, trying to get in there. And just like taking whatever I can get. Like, you know, you start saying yes to everything until you don't have to anymore. And then you start saying no. And then that's really awesome when you can start saying no to things. Okay, so I want to just talk about this because I think so many musicians and anybody in general wants things to happen like instantaneously, and it just doesn't happen. And I really want you guys to start thinking about the lifespan as the sale, as like planting a garden and planting seeds. Like it takes time. Like let's use an example, okay? So let's say you meet somebody here at like a sync convention, right? We'll use sync as an example. And you say, hey, like I'm a composer, I compose like commercials and stuff and Target and whatever. And the guy likes you and you guys exchange information, right? And you get them to follow you on your Instagram or YouTube. And so the sync agent that follows you, like they leave the event and they go on with their day, they go on there with their life, and then maybe like 2 weeks later, they're at the doctor's waiting for their appointment, they're scrolling on Instagram, and they see your video. Here's what it would sound like if my music was in a Target commercial. And they're like, oh yeah, they're really actually pretty good, right? Then like a month goes by and they're like at the train station and they're waiting for the train and they go on TikTok and they see your video. Here's what it sound like if I did the trailer for Dune. And they're like, oh wow, that's really good, right? So now they're becoming a fan of you, they're getting to know you, they feel like they know you, they're friendly with you, right? They care about you. Then maybe like 6 months go by and they walk onto their office, they open up their computer and they say, oh, we're looking for a composer to compose a Target commercial and we need the song like yesterday. And they can go through their stack of like 50 composers, 100 composers or whatever. Or they open up their phone because they're checking an email and then go onto Instagram, they see your video. This is what it would sound like if da-da-da-da. They go into your bio, they see your email, they say, hey, I just got a job for a Target commercial. You would actually be perfect for this. Do you want this job, right? So that's kind of how long it could take. Like people that buy my products or bought a one-on-one session for me, like whenever I can ask them like, oh, when did you discover me? And so many times it was like, oh, I was following you like in 2021 and then you had a free class and I came to your free class and then you sent an email around like Black Friday and you were having a sale, so I bought your one-on-one, right? So it's just such a long process. And then if you keep planting these seeds, then over time it's going to be like boom, 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 sale, 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 harvest, 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 right? So that is why this is like a never-ending machine that we just have to keep feeding. Okay, now let's talk about the strategy. How do we do all this strategically, okay? And yes, you should have a strategy, because if you don't have a strategy, then you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Maybe some things won't stick, maybe it will, but like that's exhausting and it's time-consuming and maybe it's expensive depending on how you're running things. So if you have a strategy, then you're playing darts, right? You have your eye on the target and you're just shooting, 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 trying different things until you land on the bullseye. So these are the 5 questions that you need to answer. The first question is the bullseye, which is what do you want to do? And believe it or not, this might be like the hardest step for so many musicians, because many musicians want to do everything at once. And they also want to paint and they also want this and be a fashion, right? Like, so like, you have to be more specific about what you want to do, but you can think of it like steps. Like, okay, like first I'm going to build up my teaching business, then I'm going to be an artist. Like for me, I've decided, this is a new revelation, that like, okay, I want to have $5 million in the bank and then I'm going to retire. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just going to like, I don't know, do something different, but then I want to be like an artist and just like focus on creating just for the pure joy of creating. Like I don't want to monetize my art, but I want to like make art on a daily basis and not have to worry about money. Like that's my goal, right? That's what I want to do. And every single day I'm working towards that goal. That's part of my goal. But specifically, when I first started this, what I wanted to do was to work with music tech companies. So that was my first step. When you get to your first step, check. then you get to your next step, then you get to your next step, then you get to your next step. But it's all like a strategic goal. First step, pick something attainable goal. Okay, I want to build my mix and mastering business. I want to build my production business. Or maybe your goal is, I want to be an artist. I want to tour the country. Like, that is actually an attainable goal. Like, you can do that. And you work backwards, one thing at a time. Okay, 2, create a mission statement. A lot of people skip this step, but I think this is really important because this is a way for you to say authentic. This is why you are doing this and how you are going to keep going. So this is your selfless commitment to your fans and clients. For me, my mission statement is to make music production and entrepreneurship more accessible to more people. Yes, I want to make $5 million, but I also want to do it doing this mission statement. Like, that is how I want to make my millions. Who supports that goal? So immerse yourself in this community of people that you are trying to help or you're trying to reach. Where do they hang out? Where do they shop? What shows do they want to see? What kind of content would they like to see? What problems do they have? What fears do they have? What brings them joy? Right? Like, really, really figure that out. And then once you figure out who they are, you need to figure out how you're going to reach them. And that's the marketing, right? Now we're inviting those people to our dance, to our party, right? So you can do outreach, you can do networking, you can do paid ads, you can do social media, you can do referrals, you can do the 20 other ways that you can do marketing, right? But you have to do something, okay? You can't just not do something. Like, marketing is important. So then the next thing is, how will they support you? What products and services can you offer them? What are they going to buy? Now, this is where we're asking them to dance. Okay, so my 5 answers, as I mentioned, was what do I want to do? I want to work with music tech companies. What is my mission statement? To make music production and entrepreneurship more accessible to more people. Who supports that goal? Singers, songwriters, producers, instrumentalists, music tech companies. How will you reach them? Social media, referrals, networking, and I just recently, like I said, just started ads. And how will they support you? They will hire me to make content, music, and buy my products. Pretty straightforward. Everybody needs to answer these questions, right? For one specific thing. Notice how I don't say, what do you want to do? I want to work with music tech companies. I want to be an artist. I want to sell saxophones, right? No, like, we have one specific thing, right? That is what you want to do. Okay. Now let's talk about the math. We're going to just like kind of briefly talk about this because I'm confident that you guys can figure this out like once you see what I'm talking about. But the difference between gross income, gross is the total amount of money you earn before taxes and expenses are taken out. Net income is what's left after taxes and expenses. This is the money you actually keep in your pocket. Truly, net income is what I'm concerned about because that's how I'm going to get my $5 million. I want $5 million net income, right? So if we're talking about $100,000, assuming you have like a 30% tax rate, depending on where you guys live, I don't know if you're in Jersey or New York City, like it might look different, but this is about what you would need to make $100,000 a year. So that would mean you would need to make like $1,200 a month, $400 a day, or whatever, however you want to break this down. Okay, so there's lots of ways that you could pick and pair and do this, right? So let's talk about one example. Example A, gigging. The average pay per gig, let's say it's $400. Hopefully, you know, give or take, right? Depending if you're working on a Saturday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, whatever. So if you were just a gigging musician and you wanted to make $100K a year, these would be your scenarios, right? You would either need to be getting 358 gigs a year, which is 30 gigs a month. Or if you have higher paying gigs, let's say you're getting paid $1,000 per gig, all you would need is 143 gigs per year. So let's say you make 12 per month. Or maybe like in the high seasons, like in December and September and October, maybe you're working 30 gigs, right? And so then you can kind of like balance this all out. But I have a hunch that many musicians have not done these kind of breakdowns, really figuring out, okay, what does it actually take? You know, like how can I actually get there? Okay, let's talk about mixing and mastering. Let's say you're doing that. Let's say you are charging $300 per project, right? So the goal is to make 143, right? Because 43,000 of that will go to taxes. You would need like 477 gigs per year. So maybe you're mixing and mastering 40 people per month. Or maybe you figured out a way to charge per album, right? Maybe you do $1,000 per album and all you need is 143 albums per month, right? And then let's talk about one more. This would be production. Let's say the average production cost is $1,000 per project, per track. So you would need to do 143 tracks per year and about 12 per month. Maybe you can bundle it up. Maybe you're doing $10,000 per album. So basically, if you were doing an album a month, you'd be able to get there, right? So you see how all this is broken down? Then you can also have, this is why it really helps if you have like multiple revenue streams, right? Like maybe you're doing an album, maybe you're selling a course, maybe you're doing this, maybe you're selling your beats, right? So then it can all start pairing together. You guys get to build your own formula. You can like take a picture of this if you want to, or just figure it out yourselves. But like basically it's pretty much like a very straightforward formula, okay? Like my goal take home is this after tax, then you figure out your tax rate, then you can just kind of figure out, okay, what do I need per gig to get there? And then this should be your target. This should be your goals that you're setting yourselves for each month and how you're gonna get there. And you know, this could be seasonal too. Like you could be like, okay, the high months are gonna be, I'm gonna be working harder. So like in February, I'm gonna be working less, right? Maybe there's less gigs then. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, which, believe it or not, is the most important thing, is this is 99.9% of mindset mastery. Truly. If you do not believe you have a seat at the table, nobody else will, okay? You are more capable than you think you are. Everybody, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Billy Joel. I watched the Billy Joel documentary. There are many times he said, I'm not good enough. Like, he's Billy Joel, right? So you have to tell yourself, like, I am good enough. I am talented. I do put in the work. I do show up every day. I am getting 1% better every day. I like to tell myself, like, oh, I'm going to make the best music in my life when I'm 65. Like, that's going to be my prime. And that just, like, takes the pressure off, right? You have to look at fear in a different way. Instead of, I'm afraid if I don't make it, I'll be broke, you can say, like, I'm a hard worker. I have so many talents. I will find a job for sure. One of my biggest fears is, like, you know, because you guys know my story, like, I've had to start from zero so many times. I have a fear that, like, oh, like, I'm going to lose my Instagram, I'm going to lose my TikTok, I'm going to lose my YouTube, and I'm going to have to start over again. And you know what? Like, if that happens, like, yes, I'm going to try again. I'm going to build it again. And this time, I'll be able to build it so much faster because now I have the skills that got me to where I am today. And something that is really important is that failure is a part of success. If you've never tried something new, you would have never failed. And if you never tried anything new, you would have never succeeded. So you have to be able to fail. If I never made that girl group, I would have never learned how to start arranging in GarageBand, and I would have never learned like the invaluable skills from that group that helped me succeed in SEIDS production that I didn't even know about subconsciously, right? So every failure is an invaluable lesson. When you have those failures, because you will, then you have to sit down and have those tough conversations. Like, what went wrong here? What could I do differently next time? And then you have to take the L, get back up, and try again. Remember why you are doing this in the first place. The why is always what guides me. Like, let's say a small scale, right? I work all day on a video thinking that it's going to pop off. And guess what? It didn't, right? And I'm so angry. I'm like, oh, this Logic Pro video, I don't understand. Like, the algorithms, they hate me, blah, 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 right? But I remembered, okay, did this help one person? And guess what? This example I'm using, actually a musician that I really, really respect, a really successful musician reached out to me and he said, he left me a voice memo on DMs, just a stranger, just saying like, hey, I saw your video the other day and it came to me at the perfect time because I was really struggling with the song I was on, and then I saw your thing about chord trigger and it was the perfect formula to help me finish my song. So I just want to say thank you for that. And then I was like, you know what? Here I was, not doing what I said I was, focusing on the numbers over the goals. And really I had helped somebody, and as long as I help one person or I'm following my mission, I'm showing up for myself, that's why I'm here in the first place, right? Okay, last thing I want to say, I think this is the last thing I want to say, is hard work over talent, okay? Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard, okay? talent is something you're born with, and people are going to be born with different talent levels, right? Some people are going to be more talented than you, some people are going to be less talented than you, and that's great. That's whatever, because ultimately skills are what's earned, and you can earn the skills. Like, you can show up, and I've seen it even with singing. I've seen singers show up at the gig that were the worst singer on the gig, truly, and they were determined to get better. And they did. Like 6 months later, I was hearing them sing. I'm like, dang, like, you really, like, you worked at it, and you can. You can even work at becoming a great singer, which is crazy. So, hard work beats talent. When talent fails, to work hard. And that's it. So, you can download this free workbook that I created. You can also send me an email. And now I want to open up the floor if anybody has any questions. I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but if anyone has a question, just scream it out.
When you started out just doing the ebook that you sell.
Sorry.
I'm
The
sorry.
stream, would you mind talking into the for the stream?
Okay, sure. When you started out for the ebook that you sell, what was like beyond the videos? What did you tell yourself? Like, okay, I'm gonna start this ebook. What is it that people are looking for? What is it that I want to make sure that remains authentic to me? Like, how did that process for you come about, and how did you stick with just making that goal, like the be all end all?
So, okay.
Amazing.
Thank
But you compiled it to a point where you're like, okay, from the video, you also have a God. Like, did you tell yourself, like, okay, they're going to need a God beyond the video?
Yeah, well, I really wanted to make something that didn't already exist.
Yeah.
So, and it was also kind of like, it was like a weird kind of product, because I was just like, people could just read the manual, you know? Like, like this class is really like, what I just told you today is like my thoughts, like my own thoughts. But what I realized is that people really liked my curated tips. Like, they liked my hand-picked tips. They didn't want to go through the manual themselves. And I was like, okay, so I had this idea, like, when I was in high school and I didn't want to read the book. I don't know if you guys remember this site or know about the site, but there was a site called, like, Cliff Notes that would, like, read the book for you and just, like, tell you everything that happened. So I'm like, let me just do that for Logic Pro. Like, I wish I had that for Final Cut Pro. I don't want to sit there and read, like, I wish I had that for everything, you know? Like how amazing would it be if I, like, opened up a program and I had, like, a crash course of, like, a book, 50-minute videos that go with each chapter, like, you know, 5 minutes, whatever. I'm like, that would be so awesome for me. That's what I want, you know? Because it also took me, like, 2 years to learn Logic Pro, when really what I wanted to do was just, like, start making music. I didn't want to learn the dang DAW. Obviously, I've, like, built a career off of it, so it was awesome. But I was like, okay, like, what, like, how can I help people, or how can I make something that, like, is really helpful? So that was kind of why I did it, and why I built it in that way. So I guess you can think about, like, what problems am I solving for myself and for others? And it's, like, truly, like, a banging product. Like, people love it, and I myself use it when I, like, forget, like, a trick. I just always have my Logic Pro manual just, like, on my iPad, just right by me. I'm like, oh, da-da-da, because it's just, like, it's great. And also, the cool thing is, once you, like, really learn about marketing and sales, is that, like, the numbers don't lie. So if you just make a product and you just have no idea, you just, like, make it out of just, like, a thought, and you're like, I'm just going to make this product and I'm going to put it out, like, you have no idea if people are going to buy it, right? But when I made the Logic Pro book, what I did was I built an early access list. So I was like, hey, I'm making this thing because people have asked me for it. If you guys want it, sign up for this early access list. And like 1,000 people signed up. And so, all right, now I knew that, like, people really wanted this. And then it's really weird how the numbers are, but it's always, like, around, like, a 10 to 20% range, right? Like, if 1,000 people say they're going to buy something, 1,000 people are not going to buy. It's like 10% to 20% will buy. But then you could kind of really plug in the numbers. You're like, okay, well, if 1,000 people sign up and I'm selling this for $25, then I know I'm going to make X amount of money, because they will buy. And it's just been, like, a really fun learning experience, because, like, making that Logic Pro crash course was truly the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I quite literally like wanted to jump out the window. It is so tedious. It is not fun. It is not creative, right? And like me and my now husband were just like in the weeds, like making this product. And I'm not a perfectionist, but I'm also not a procrastinator. So if I start a project, I like won't rest until I finish this project. And this was like a heavy feat, you know? So it was like 4 months of like, from like dawn to like bedtime, just like building this Logic Pro book and like building it, because like when you're making a crash course, like every second matters. I didn't want any fluff, right? So it was like a lot to like cut down, you know? So I was building it, and then I finally like finished it and I launched it, and it was like, I want to say it was like Christmas or like, it was like a holiday or something. It was like midnight. And I was just like, I'm just going to put it out. And so I just like put it out, and I like sent a message to just my broadcast channel on Instagram, which I should probably like utilize more now that I think about it. But I think it had like 4,000 people in my broadcast channel on Instagram. And I don't know if you guys are using the broadcast channel, but it's like pretty cool because you could just like send a bunch of people like a text. So I like sent these people like, hey, my Logic Pro book is done. Like, you guys are on the early access. You know, you're in this like special broadcast group. So here's like a discount and whatever. And like so many of them are buying it like right away, like instantly, from something I made out of nothing. Like I was just making like money. You know, I was like, cha-ching, cha-ching. And I was like, what is happening? And it was like, I literally started crying. It was like one of the happiest like moments, because the things I used to have to do for money, you know what I mean? Like, and then I was just like making it just like that. Like, it was just like so crazy. So I really hope you guys get to experience something like that. Like, that is what I hope for every entrepreneur, every creator out there, is to just like making something that you feel, especially getting to help people. There's just like, that's just like such a great reward. But yeah, like that's kind of how it all happened with that. And like each time I've been learning, like I told you, like the first thing I sold was that MIDI chord pack. And even then I was just like, people are buying this? Like it's a crazy feeling. And like, especially with digital products, because you know, I always thought like historically you'd have to spend all this money to sell something, right? Like when you sell a t-shirt or whatever, you had to like spend the money, like whatever, you know what I mean, at that time. Now there's like print on demand and everything. So like digital products are like really where it's at, truly.
Okay, cool. Do you mind if I ask a personal question about your income streams?
Sure.
Nothing.
I don't know if I'll answer, but
So you mentioned that you had like multiple income streams that were coming in from freelancing and in your digital business. Which one for you is the most profitable one?
Yeah, so that's always changing, quite honestly. And I'm also I'm more of a like feelings type person. Like I'm not as like at the end of the year, you know, I sit down with my CPA, which is my father, and we'll like break down the numbers. But up until then, like I'm not as like metric based as I should. But I'm like always equally hustle, because I have this like I'm a really mean boss to myself, because I'm constantly fueled by fear. Truly, like by fear, right? Like, because each month I'm like, oh, how much am I gonna make? How much am I gonna make? You know? So I'm always like, if I'm not having a bunch of clients and like super overworked, then I'm like always trying to get more. And then if I'm not like making a bunch of sales in my store, then I'm like always trying to figure out ways to get more. I really honestly want to say they're about 50-50. Like truly, like I just balance them out. I could probably live with one or the other and like get rid of one, but again, I'm like fueled by fear. So not a healthy way to live. I'm working on it. But that's why I'm like, okay, once I hit my $5 million, like I'm done. I'm just going to make music. I'm going to like move to the mountains and like a beach and just make music and paint.
Nice. And I have one more follow-up question, because you mentioned your new goal of $5 million. How do you think you have to like change your strategy to get there?
Okay, well, I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't made $1 million yet. So everyone says like your first $1 million is like the hardest. So hopefully once I hit $1 million, it'll just like bang, $5 million. No, I don't know. Everything for me has like truly been slow. I know it seems like I just like popped up overnight, but like every single thing has been slow. Like my growth on all the platforms has been slow. I haven't been like I haven't really had a viral moment. I'm waiting for it. I'm like, will it happen? But like it hasn't. So I just think it really is like slow and steady. And like, if I keep growing at this rate, I'm hoping to get there by, 58, like a normal retiring age. I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So I'm just wondering, when you started out, like you're saying, you're growing your following, you're growing your fan base. How long did it take? Let's put it this way: how many fans, how many followers did you have to have before you start to really see some returns on?
Oh, that's a good question. So I really wanted to wait to monetize. I was in like a very different financial position then, where I was in a relationship, like a stereotypical relationship where like the man was like paying and the girl was just like, I'm just gonna be like a struggling artist, and so I just like, I wasn't taking like anything. I wanted to wait until I was like really making good money. So there was like brands reaching out to me for like $75 or like $100 here, $100 there, and I was really just like turning those down because I was like, okay, I want to make like the serious money, so I'm just gonna like wait. And then he dumped me. And then I could no longer wait. So for me, that period was like 9 months, but it could have happened a lot sooner. Like when I have this course, which is how to work with music tech companies. Like if you guys are specifically interested in that, I have this course. And before I sold that course, I really wanted to make sure what I was teaching actually worked. So my now husband, was like, I was going to use him as a guinea pig because he was just like an artist. He hates social media, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, okay, let's build you a tech page and let's see how quickly we can build this up and to see like how quickly brands will reach out to you and do what I'm teaching, And it happened like right away. Like his first video got 30,000 views, and then right away like companies were reaching out to him for $500 here, $400 here, $300 there. And he was like happy with that, so he took those. But he could have waited until he built the channel more, and then he could have accepted bigger. But of course, he just like stopped it entirely. Like it's just doing the artist thing now. But yeah, you know what I mean? So it just really depends on like your goals and like what you want to do. I have a friend who's not doing social media at all, and he's just gone the ads route, and he's making a couple $1,000s a month with just ads because that's what he went into. And like I said, like ads do work, but you have to invest your time and money, and he really invested his time and money to learn. Like not just his money in the ads, but he bought like a really expensive course to learn how to do the ads, and it's paid off like 10 times. It's paid off, but like he believed in himself, he trusted it, and he invested his money. Whereas I didn't want to invest my money, maybe because I didn't believe in myself or whatever, the universe, and I was like, I'm just going to invest my time. That's why I did the social media. So that's why it took a little bit longer. So it just really just depends on like you, your goals, and what you're trying to do.
Just one more quick question.
Yeah.
And when you're targeting things, I mean, are you using tags? Like how are you actually targeting?
Okay, so that's a great question. So okay, social media platforms, their goal is to keep people on their platforms. They get to know you really well, right? They know you if you, whatever you like. And like the algorithms are very smart, right? If my dad algorithm looks so much different than my algorithm, right? His is all about the New York Jets, mine's about Logic Pro, right? And this. So you teach the algorithms, the tags are more of like a database if like people are searching for a tag. Like if I was like, oh, I'm looking for nails, and I'll do like #nails or whatever. But really like you teach the algorithms what kind of content and who to show that content to. That's why it's really important to have the strategy like, okay, I want to work with music tech companies. Like my example, right? My mission is to make music production entrepreneurship more accessible to more people. Who are the people that support that goal? Singers, songwriters, producers, Get to know them. What kind of content would they like to see? For me, I was like, oh, here's a cool Logic Pro tip. So all I did was here's a cool Logic Pro tip. I posted that every single day. Guess what? The first company to reach out to me and build a relationship with me was Apple. Right? Because the PR person was on TikTok and she was seeing my videos. Here's a cool Logic Pro tip. Here's a cool Logic Pro tip. Here's a cool Logic Pro tip. You know what I mean? So the algorithms are really smart. So when you make the right kind of content, that's why it's really bad, in my opinion, to not be specific with your posts, right? So if you're like an artist and you're also like teaching, and then like one day you're posting about like your metal band, and then the next day you're posting about like teaching, those are two separate audiences, because people who are listening to metal music aren't interested in learning how to play guitar, right? So you should have probably two separate channels, right, for two separate audiences. You could try to like get creative with it, but ultimately like the algorithms aren't going to learn who to show your content to. So it's a disservice to yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm curious about like what exact content did your husband post and what client he ended up reaching out to.
Okay, well, I can't like specifically say like clients and money and stuff like that, but it was music tech clients, so like you could see that, and you could also just like look at his channel and figure it out. But like he uses Studio One, so he started with like Studio One content, and then because like I was like, oh, just do like tips about Studio One, you know, because like that would have been cool to show. Does anyone here use Studio One? Well, they don't have that many cool tricks, so it was getting kind of boring after a while. But yeah, that was interesting. That was his stuff. But he really truly like he doesn't really want to work with music tech companies, and that's why number one is the most important. Like, what do you want to do, right? And that might take a long time for you guys to figure that out. It's not what's easiest, because nothing is easy. I promise you. Like, working at McDonald's is not easy. Like, nothing is easy, right? So you really have to think about, like, what do you want to do? And people always say, like, I think they assume that, like, oh, she's just doing this because she couldn't make it as an artist, or she couldn't make it, you know, as a singer or whatever. This is truly my dream. Like, if Taylor Swift were to be like, Sabrina, do you want to go on tour with me? Like, I would say no. Like, probably she couldn't pay me as much as I'm making, truly, as a backup singer. And two, like, I get to create every single day. I get to work from home. I get to meet all these cool people. I get, like, a bunch of free gear. Like, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. I can't assume that you would want to do what I want to do, but this is, like, what I want to do, you know? And then I don't want to do this forever. That's when I say, like, I love to be a creative. I had to do the soul searching, and the soul searching for me was like, I'm happiest when I'm creating. Not just creating music. I love creating music, but I also love creating videos, and I love creating products, and I love painting, and I love creating recipes. I just love creating, and I'm like, how can I get paid creating? That's my dream. Performing was fun. I liked performing, but that wasn't what I loved doing. I loved creating.
Okay, I'll ask one question. So initially, like, switching from a singer to a music producer, like, how did you build the knowledge or skill gap? Did you all self-taught? Like,
pretty much. I mean, this is why I love courses, because that course I told you about on Facebook, which was Learn How to Produce in 30 Days from Blanks, that's how I started learning. Like, I took that 30-day course, and that course, like, single-handedly, like, changed my life. And I'm like, oh, if I can create courses that also help people change lives, then I want to do that. Because, like, there's so many, you can come to a school like this, or you can learn at home. There's so many, like, resources. You don't have to go to, like, a Berkeley or, like, a really expensive school. Like, there's so many ways for you to learn, and I'm still learning, you know? Like, I've only been producing since 2021, and, like, I make my little songs, my little pop songs, and I have fun, but, like, you know, I'm no Diplo. I just enjoy doing it, and I just try every day to get better and try to learn something new every day.
maybe I can ask another question. So you mentioned about you are also interested in, like, recipe, like, a lot of things. Like, as a, like, multi kind of passionist, like, how did you kind of, like, dig into your soul and find that one exact spot?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I kind of have to thank, like, the universe for that, because had it not been for COVID, like, I truly wouldn't be doing this. Like, I would be singing on cruise ships, you know? And which is why you just kind of, like, have to trust, like, every bad situation. Like, COVID was quite literally such a horrible time for me, like, truly horrible. Like, my grandfather died. I wasn't able to go to his funeral. I was stuck at home in, like, a small apartment. This girl group had ended. I was miserable, like, one of the worst times of my life. But because I was stuck at home, I got fed this Facebook ad, learned how to produce, started posting on TikTok at a time where it was, like, pretty easy to pop off. Like, you know what I mean? So it all kind of like worked out. So now every time there's like a bad thing in my life, I'm like, okay, something good can come out of this. Like there's something happening. So yeah, I just kind of like failed so many times that this is like what the direction pointed it to me. And now, like, yes, I love creating recipes and cooking, but I haven't been cooking because I'm so focal, like very focused on my goal. Like I told you, like the darts, and I'm playing darts, like I'm so laser focused on like reaching my goal, and like for some reason it's that $5 million and just like reaching that, and then once I get there, that'll be my goal. And my goals had changed. Like it didn't start with $5 million. First it started with, I want to work with Splice, and I want to work with Apple, and I want to work with Isotope, and that was check 1. And then the next goal was like, I want to sell 1,000 this, or I want to do this, and then that was check 2. Now it's like the $5 million. I don't know why. That's just like the number I set for myself.
Okay, question. You mentioned working with music tech companies as being like the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
Can you give some examples of what that actually looks like?
Yeah.
My assumption is that you're like partnering with Apple and like showcasing some of their products on your social media, but maybe there's something else.
Yeah, so this is actually like a massive career really that like nobody really talks about, which is why I have like a full like intro class that you can, like 45-minute intro class that you guys can watch. Like you can just go to my like links or just send me an email and I'll like send it to you. But just like a brief overview of it, like what I do with it is, like music tech companies need so much content, like not just video content, music content as well. So like sample packs. That was the first way I worked with music tech companies, was like vocal packs as like a singer and like an engineer and all of that. Like that's where I started. And then videos, of course, like they need so much video content, not just on their own channels, but on their sites, on their paywalls. Like I did videos for Splice Skills and like sample packs for Splice. Then there's even beyond like what I've done, which is like presets. Like every plugin you see that has presets in it, those were all made by humans. All of the AI tools, like the ethical AI tools, which are the only ones that I work with, they hire musicians to train those AIs. So like that's working with music tech companies. And then also like a bunch of the people at the companies are typically musicians, because it's like, how can you build these like musician tools if you don't understand the landscape or like what people need? So it's a really big industry, like huge industry that like I didn't know existed, and I just kind of like landed on it, which is why I'm so passionate about like teaching people how to do that job. So like I said, if you're interested in that, like send me an email, I'll send you the intro class, and then you can watch the intro class just to learn more about like the opportunities that are there for you. And then the cool part about that is like once you start working with, you know, music tech companies, you can start becoming your own music tech company. So you can work with them and then also sell your own digital products. So like some of my friends and colleagues are selling like plugins, like going really in on like plugins and that stuff, whereas I am still just like selling like, you know, courses and stuff like that. But it's the same market, so you can kind of like tap in both sides, like helping, you know, working with tech companies on their side, and then also like selling stuff that musicians need. So it's pretty cool. It's like a really actually like gold mine right now, because there's not that many people in it, and then there's just so many music tech companies, like because anybody can be a music tech company. Like one of my biggest clients is just like 2 guys that made something, you know what I mean, and they're making a lot of money, and I'm working with them like building content and stuff for them, you know. So there's that. So it's a lot. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I wouldn't have assumed actually all of those examples, because I think as a consumer, I usually see like the brand promotion or the like, let's check out this plugin. But I feel like you just highlighted so many more use cases that I didn't know about. So that's cool.
Like if you think about like all the Logic Pro presets, like those were made by a human. Like I know that human. He has a crazy like studio, you know? So there's so much work available to people if you know where to look. I think, are we almost out of time anyways? I'm not sure what.
We're chilling on time.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I can ask another one.
Okay.
If you were to start on social media over again, what platform would you focus on?
That's a tricky one. I would focus on all of them at the same time because you could quite literally post like the same content, and like if you're gonna make the content on one, like why wouldn't you utilize all of them? Especially now, like when I first started out on TikTok, like there wasn't even Reels, so it was like you were just making Reels, like you were just making TikTok, like those videos, and then obviously like the landscape has changed, and then there wasn't YouTube Shorts, and now there's YouTube Shorts, and then YouTube Shorts for only a minute, and like everyone else was like 90 seconds, and now YouTube Shorts you can do like 3 minutes. So like, yeah, you should just like post on all of them. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, if you're gonna make the content, like take your shot on all of them. It takes like an extra 10 minutes to post on like, maybe even less, to post on like each platform. So yeah, I would definitely try to hit up as many as possible. Cause like when you think about like those platforms, you kind of want to think about like you're mining for gold, and each of those platforms have gold and they have their own audience, and you're just trying to like tap into like as many of them as you can.
Dope. Okay, makes sense.
Well, if there's not any more questions, we can just wrap up and then just like talk amongst ourselves. I find that like I'm always like, oh, any questions? And then it ends, and then everyone comes up to me and asks me like a bunch more questions. Maybe people are shy. But thank you guys all for coming. I hope you learned a lot, and at the very least, you are inspired and motivated and truly believe in yourselves that if I can do this, like I'm not the best singer, songwriter, producer, I'm not the best content creator, I'm not the best marketer. So if I'm like me can do this, like you guys can certainly do this as well.
Thank you.